Hey boss, I just made this new arcade game and it's great! Something completely new. That's great. The start of a new genre. What is it? Well, it's this screen with a bunch of ladders and platforms that you move around. So it's a ladder game then. Maybe. I mean, most of the action takes place on the platforms. Basically, dig holes and try to make enemies fall through them. Ah, okay. So the new genre is digging games. How about platformer games? Nah, digging games. They'll be huge. Okay. Welcome to Mike's Gaming Gala. I'm Mike, and this week we're looking at Space Panic for the Intellivision, published by Intellivision Collector. Space Panic comes in a professionally printed flip-top box with a manual, overlays, mini poster, and a new injection molded cartridge. This shell is a clear smoky one. I like it. Space Panic runs for $70 complete in box or $12 for the digital version, which includes the ROM as well as digital versions of the overlays and manual. So, how does the first platformer game fare on the Intellivision? Let's take a look. After the splash screen, you're brought to a menu that gives you a lot of options for your game. Navigating the menu with the number pad, pressing 1 selects whether you want to play the Coleco, Arcade, or Apple version of the game. Pressing 2 selects how many lives you start with, 3 determines how many points are required to gain an extra life, 4 toggles invincibility mode, which we'll talk about later, and pressing 5 continues to the game with the options you've chosen. Most of the options here are pretty self-explanatory, but the most intriguing is the 3 different game modes. We'll look at all of them to see the differences. Let's start with Coleco. Pressing continue with a Coleco game selected brings us to a Coleco title screen, and pressing either 1 or 2 for the amount of players gets you started. I'll be playing 1 player for this review, but if you're playing a 2-player game, you'll alternate taking turns. The goal of Space Panic is to eliminate all the monsters on the screen before your oxygen runs out. You'll do this by digging holes in the platforms and filling them in when one of the enemies falls into them. At the very top of your screen is your score, and just below is your oxygen bar, which will tick down as you play. At the bottom of the play screen on the left is the amount of lives you have remaining, followed by the bonus score you'll receive based on the oxygen you have left when you complete the level. This score ticks down in conjunction with the oxygen bar at the top. Last but not least, at the bottom right of the screen is a number indicating what level you're currently in. Different action buttons perform the digging and filling in actions, and sometimes in a panic you can mix them up, so you'll have to be on your game to get things right. For quicker navigation of the screen, you can jump down through holes that you've made. The fall won't hurt you no matter how many stories it is. When an enemy falls into one of your holes, you'll have a limited amount of time to get in there and fill it in, dropping them to the floor below. If you're too slow to get there, the creature will work its way out of the hole and resume attacking you. This will also happen if you're digging and an enemy enters your hole before you're finished. They'll immediately start getting out and you'd better stop what you're doing and get the heck out of Dodge. Once you've cleared all the creatures on the screen, you get the victory tune and the remaining oxygen bonus is added to your score before advancing to the next level. As levels progress, you're going to encounter new enemies that evolve from unsuccessfully captured creatures, bosses and dawns. These guys will require you to drop them multiple stories in order to kill them. Dig out holes so that anything that falls through a platform will also fall through the platform below it. This should actually be part of your regular strategy, as enemies that fall through multiple platforms will grant you more points than if they only fell through one. The green bosses need to fall through 2 stories to be killed, and white dawns need to fall through 3. I imagine that this is a strategy to get massive scores, but damn, it's incredibly difficult to do. I can get enemies to fall through multiple levels, but targeting a specific one is tough as hell. In my personal experience, it's better to just try and kill all the enemies on the screen in the quickest and simplest way possible, in order to maximize your oxygen bonus. This is where I'd recommend that invincible mode in the first menu. Using that will allow you to practice trapping these guys without having to worry about getting cornered or trapped in some way. Back to the main menu, let's take a look at the other modes included here. Selecting Arcade gives us a different title screen. Visually, the game looks the same, and so far as I can tell, it plays the same. However, the huge difference here is the audio. It's much more sparse and, frankly, pretty shrill. Personally, I don't like the sound effects in this version, but it's quite true to the original, so for fans of the arcade, this is the mode for you. Selecting Apple mode gives you the Apple Panic title screen, the unauthorized port for 8-bit computers. And that's really the only difference I can see. It looks, sounds, and plays just like the ColecoVision, so far as I can tell. But as you can probably see from my gameplay footage, I'm really not great at this game. So it's entirely possible that there are differences as you progress that I just never made it to. And that's Space Panic for the Intellivision. So what did I think? It's definitely a fun little piece of history. Fans of Lode Runner will recognize this as its inspiration. Space Panic is a simple game, but there most definitely is strategy involved, and you can get lost playing over and over again trying to get high scores. I really like that they included all the different options that they did, as it makes it so that you can customize your gameplay to your personal preferences. For some people, this may be a little too simple for the complete in-box treatment, but thankfully the digital ROM package is cheap, and I really do think it's worth picking up. Thank you for watching my video, I hope you liked it, and thank you so much to my channel members. I appreciate the support so much. As always, my contact info is in the description, and we'll see you next time on Mike's Gaming Gala.